Sure, you guys remember a little while back, Kanye West suddenly started saying, oh God, anti-Semitic stuff isn't even like the right term for it. He was saying how much he loves Hitler. I don't know how else to say it. Like, the dude said that he loves Hitler. If you don't remember that, let me just give you a little reminder here. By the way, just for the record, I support Palestine. I believe that the Palestinians are being terribly mistreated and they deserve their own rights. They deserve human rights. They deserve to take part in a government. I'd love to see a one-state solution where Israel's government and Palestine's government is completely dissolved and a new government is formed in which everybody was treated equally and fairly and everybody had a vote, a democratic system. Not going to happen. It's a pipe dream. But that's my ideal situation. The point is, I'm pro-Palestine. But anti-Semitism, bro, oh my God, it's crazy. I'm anti-Israel. I am pro-Jewish person. Israel's desperate to conflate Jews and Israel. The Israeli government is desperate to connect them. I don't connect them. The Israeli government's disgusting and evil and wrong. Jews, I have no issue with at all. In fact, my neighborhood is 52% Jewish, but that's neither here nor there. When I hear Kanye West say things like what you're about to hear him say, it like raises my eyebrows nearly off my head.
Can we just kind of say, like, you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No. There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
Oh boy. That's insane. Like, usually people don't, I mean, I imagine that there are a lot of people that feel that way, like a lot, a weird number of people that feel that way about Hitler, but they don't normally come out and say it like that. Like, Jesus, dude, this guy just, you know what? I'll let Greg Locke say it for me.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. Yes. That's how I feel about the situation. Absolutely. So anyway, Kanye West is absolutely terrible. Like, absolutely awful. Literally said that he loves Hitler. Does it get worse than that? As it turns out, it does. If you don't know Candace Owens, she was fired from the Daily Wire, fascinatingly. So I want to talk about Candace Owens a little bit, what she's been up to, and why she was likely, in my opinion, fired from the Daily Wire. I think it's because she's anti-Semitic. So let's talk about Candace Owens's like connection to Kanye West, okay? When Kanye came out, I went on, by the way, he calls himself Ye, apparently changed his name legally. I don't care. He's Kanye West. That's his branding. And in my opinion, I have a strong suspicion that he may have rebranded to Ye to save his Kanye or his Kanye West image and reputation because he knew he was about to trash it by going and talking about how evil Jews are and everything. So I'm not feeding into it. He's Kanye West to me. Quick note before we continue, I want to let you know I just wrote a book. If you want to check it out, owenmorgan.com/book. It's a book about my experiences within Jehovah's Witnesses. It's completely understandable if you know nothing about Jehovah's Witnesses. And if you're a Christian, it's a good reference to use for why Jehovah's Witnesses are wrong about their interpretation of the Bible. The last chapter of the book is 100 questions that I have for the governing body. I'm selling the last chapter separately as its own separate guide if you guys want to get that too. So check it out, owenmorgan.com/book. I'd appreciate that. Anyway, let's just talk about the connection between Kanye West and Candace Owens a little bit. Maybe that'll make it clearer why Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire, which, by the by, is owned by a Jewish guy. It's owned by Ben Shapiro. He's Jewish. Literally every video that you have ever seen of Ben Shapiro, he's wearing a yarmulke. He wears a yarmulke in every video. He's Jewish. And somehow, who knows how, he keeps finding himself surrounded by Nazis. Weird, huh? Hiring Nazis and working with Nazis. Strangest thing. Wonder why. So anyway, let's talk about Candace Owens, since she was fired from the Daily Wire for anti-Semitism, presumably. Let's talk about her connection to Kanye. Check this clip out. This is from Kanye West. This one is from early December 2022.
I want to say with Ben Shapiro, he was so disrespectful to his employee, Candace Owens, for speaking out against me. And that just showed you another level.
He was disrespectful. Okay. Ben Shapiro, a Jewish person, was disrespectful to his employee, Candace Owens, when he criticized her for saying that Kanye is a good person after he said, "I love Hitler." What? I mean, so many like degrees of separation here, so many like nodes to follow. It's insane. This is just nuts, dude. Are you kidding me? Yeah, totally. Yeah. Ben Shapiro, the Jew Ben Shapiro, is mistreating his employee, Candace Owens. Definitely. Absolutely.
It showed you another level of this kind of control that's out there.
No,
this kind of control. Yeah. This is evidence. In Kanye West's mind that Jews control everything. Ben Shapiro owns a company, hired a woman to work for that company, and when she starts agreeing with somebody that wants this dude dead, he fires her. Wow, see? This is evidence of Jewish control. They see Jews around every corner, don't they? This is nuts.
I agree. I like Candace. She has a lot of courage. She's a really smart, beautiful lady.
No to all three of those things, but okay.
She's really defended you. But
she did. She defended Kanye West.
Are you saying Ben Shapiro's got her on a leash?
I think it's pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious, apparently, that Ben Shapiro has Candace Owens on a leash. Because Ben Shapiro is Jewish, of course, and you know, Jewish people like to make sure that they can control everybody. Everyone's on a leash. Absolutely. In fact, I'm saying this stuff and defending the Jewish community because I'm on a leash, right?
You know, as our Paul Watson, we didn't launch her. She deserved it. But InfoWars launched Candace Owens.
I didn't know that, actually, that Candace Owens got her start on InfoWars. Is that real? Did that really happen? I'm not sure.
Yes, but everyone is still controlled by the Jewish media. We need to serve Christ first. Christ first.
Dude, this is insane. This is like La La Land insane. Seriously. It's like every time you sneeze, you gotta blame a Jew for it. Are you kidding? Quick interjection, this won't take long. If you like what I do, I'd appreciate it if you watch the video to the end. YouTube bases video reach off of watch time, so watching even an extra minute makes the video go further. Liking and subscribing goes a long way too. Finally, it would be awesome if you guys checked out my Patreon. All links are in the description, of course. Okay, back to the video. Anyway, I really want to establish a relationship between Kanye West and Candace Owens. I want to make it clear that it wasn't just like a passing fad, or, maybe she just kind of knew the guy and Ben Shapiro unfairly fired her because he's Jewish and that's what Jewish people do. I want to establish a connection. I want to make it clear that Candace Owens defended not just Kanye West, but Hitler. Really. Candace Owens defended and endorsed some of the actions of Hitler himself. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Just stick around. This clip is from December 12th, 2022.
And then Nick is another savant.
Nick, he's talking about Nick Fuentes.
Like a Rain Man of information. And it's funny because Candace Owens is hitting me like, yo, Milo was talking about you like a month before you guys started working together, and he's gonna take you down and everything. And I was like, what about Nick Fuentes? I can't say nothing about Nick. He's good. I respect Nick. Like, so as far as people who understand.
So the bottom line, Kanye West was talking to Candace Owens and using her as a method of weeding out questionable or bad people in his group. He trusted her to give him good information. And why did he trust her so much? Well, they've known each other for years, of course. This image right here is of them showing up. I forget where they showed up to. They showed up somewhere. both wearing White Lives Matter shirts, which, by the way, is like a white supremacist dog whistle. They're both wearing white supremacist dog whistle t-shirts together. And this was from, when was this from? Yeah, this is from October 10th, 2022. They were close. Or are close. I don't know. Seriously, Ben Shapiro fires Candace Owens. Does anybody wonder why? Really? Yeah, you want somebody, if you want your boss dead because of his ethnicity or whatever, I'd say he's totally justified in, like, you're creating a hostile work environment now, right? Say I'm an atheist and I hired an evangelical Trump-supporting nutcase to help me do something. I mean, I wouldn't really be comfortable with that, but you know what? Okay, if they can do the job, they can do the job. But when they start talking about loving Hitler and wishing that atheists were all dead, like, how much more hostile does the work environment have to get, truthfully? Okay, so what I've shown so far is just kind of circumstantial, even. I haven't even, like, laid out the strongest evidence that she's a Nazi yet. Not that she's a friend of Kanye's. That's established, right? That she is a Nazi. That's what I'm trying to get to. This one came out in late February 2024.
Do you know which books the Nazis were burning?
Tell me, Candace, which books?
I'm asking you this, and I'm telling you why it blew my mind, is because definitely something that we covered extensively, and you will cover extensively throughout the public education system, is the Holocaust, Nazi Germany. It's why so many people, when they're commenting, it seems like the only historical reference they have is...
Actually, I didn't learn, I don't think I learned about the Holocaust at all in school. I had an unusual school life. So I quit in 7th grade and I went back in 10th, but I was in 9th grade classes, so I skipped some stuff. I know that my kid, at the very least, we'll go with my kid as like the baseline. My kid had some World War II education in, I think, 7th grade. But throughout my high school experience, they taught about the Civil War and the Revolutionary War. I don't ever remember learning about Nazis at any point ever in my school, like, career or whatever, you know, public school career. I remember the guy that taught about the Civil War, dude's name was Mr. Sharp. He was so very obviously a Republican. I can't even believe they got that dude to teach that class. But surprisingly, I was pretty satisfied with how he taught it. You know, he showed us routes and he told us about, like, the Anaconda Plan and the basically Ulysses S. Grant v. Robert E. Lee and what this person was doing and how they were going around and this and that and cutting off supplies. Really intricate, really detailed. Yeah, I didn't learn about the Holocaust in school at all, but I guess apparently Candace Owens learned about the Holocaust exclusively. She's saying, like, there's, like, nothing else, that, like, that's the only thing, the baseline in public schools. Okay, go on.
Public education system is the Holocaust, Nazi Germany. It's why so many people, when they're commenting, it seems like the only historical reference they have is, it's just like Hitler. They're literally Nazis.
Well, look, there's a meme of a leftist person calling things Nazis, right? Or calling people Nazis, calling this or that Nazis, whatever. I don't do that, okay? I make a point of only ever calling somebody a Nazi if they're a Nazi. And not only is Kanye West very clearly a Nazi, he said, "I love Hitler." It doesn't get clearer than that. But she is about to defend the things that Hitler did. She's a Nazi, okay? What constitutes a Nazi if not somebody who says, "I love Hitler," and defends the things that Hitler said and or did, and defends the people that defends the things that Hitler said or did? Okay. Continue listening. Go on. So, too many people calling others Nazis around, right? Go on, Candace.
Points they have is it's just like Hitler. They're literally Nazis. So
She is literally a Nazi, in my opinion.
that obsession with only referring to that historical aspect is partially because when you're in the public school system, you really focus on.
I really did not. Like, I really focused on the Civil War in West Virginia, and I really focused on the Revolutionary War when I lived in Connecticut when I was pre-8 years old. I really don't remember any World War II education.
On World War II and the Nazis. So I was shocked that I never learned throughout that schooling that the brown shirts, the student activists that went around.
If you don't know what the brown shirts are, they're kind of like the Proud Boys to some degree, a little bit. They're like, the Proud Boys are like Trump's brown shirts. It's a little more complicated than that, but for all intents and purposes, we'll go with that. Keep listening.
The student activists that went around burning a bunch of books were burning books that they deemed to be Marxist and that they deemed to be overtly sexual. And one of the first and most notorious.
The key words in that sentence being they deemed to be. And also, who cares if these books are Marxist or overtly sexual or whatever? Who cares? You're destroying information. Are you really so thick that you have not figured out that book burnings are a bad thing?
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate your input on the subject.
I've lived for the Lord my whole life, and I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it.
I appreciate that, Shane. Very astute. Go on, Candace.
To be overtly sexual. And one of the first and most notorious book burnings was the student-led destruction of the library at the Institute for Sexual Research. That library was founded by a man named Magnus Hirschfeld, and he was...
Yes, Magnus Hirschfeld. Famously, I believe he was gay, and he was basically leading the charge to be open about being gay. Like, for a long, long time, it was unacceptable to be gay. And the post-World War I, pre-World War II Germany government was much more accepting of people's liberties to do what they wanted to do until Hitler came along, of course. And Magnus Hirschfeld founded this institute where he studied sexuality, studied being gay and being trans and all of it. Studied everything. He was, of course, not the first gay person to study this stuff or the only one. He probably isn't even the one that invented the term trans, which she's about to claim, by the way. But yeah, I mean, it was a what do you call it? Like, it was an institute, a center for education and learning where people discussed and learned and philosophized and whatever about sexuality. I don't know, like, what are you complaining about here? I'm sorry. She's not complaining. She's saying that it was a good thing that Hitler's, like, private army, the brown shirts, the Proud Boys of the day, burned this building and all of its contents to the ground.
Institute for Sexual Research. That library was founded by a man named Magnus Hirschfeld, and he was the guy who actually first coined the term transsexual.
Like, it cut off there. I don't know if that's even true. This is Magnus Hirschfeld, and he was gay. But Candace Owens certainly doesn't like him, huh? Not only does she not like Magnus Hirschfeld, but she just spent, what was it, like 2 minutes telling us how the Nazis and the brown shirts did the right thing by burning his Center for Learning and Education to the ground and all of the information contained within. She literally just, like, justified parts of the Holocaust, the openings to the Holocaust, it seems to me. Can we call her a Nazi yet? Is that okay? Am I, like, is that a step too far for me to do? Is it okay to call her a Nazi? I think so. I'm not trying to be this leftist meme where I call everybody a Nazi or whatever. I don't believe everybody's a Nazi. Lots of I mean, I don't believe like nearly anybody's a Nazi, but I think she is. And I certainly think Kanye West is. I mean, he claims to be. Check this one out. This one is Candace Owens in a completely backwards way, explaining why Hitler lost the war.
I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned.
Let's talk about nationalism for a second. There's a difference between nationalism and patriotism, okay? Patriotism is a love for one's country or city or state or whatever. I'm a patriot, actually, really. I am a patriot. I would fight for my country. I would fight for my city, New York City. I would fight for Manhattan. I would. I would pick up a gun and I would put on some greaves and I'd go out there and I would fight to protect my family and my friends and my city. I would do it. I'm a patriot. But nationalism is different from patriotism in that you don't want your country to simply succeed like I do. I'm a patriot. I want my country to succeed. A nationalist wants their country to succeed and wants others to fail. They want others to cede to the will of their country as nationalists. Hitler was a nationalist. Basically, every dictator through history has been a nationalist. Nationalism is an extreme ideology that takes patriotism way, way, way further than it should ever be. Think people that have like literal like Jeeps that are completely painted like the flag, and they have like flag pins on everything and flag bumper stickers, and they get out of their car and they're wearing a flag bikini and a flag hat and, you know, all that stuff. Like that's, oh, and the desire to see every other country fail. Canada sucks. Mexico sucks. Spain sucks. They all suck, and I hope they die. You know, that's nationalism, effectively. And famously, Hitler instituted nationalism. Okay, so she's saying she likes nationalism. She thinks it's a good thing. Go on.
I actually don't have any problems at all with the word nationalism. I think that it gets, the definition gets poisoned.
The definition gets poisoned. Okay, tell us the definition then.
By elitists that actually want globalism. Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think,
well, I guess globalism is she thinking like globalism is like the opposite of nationalism? Is that the implication here? I guess globalism is, I mean, what's globalism in her mind? The idea that we live on a planet with other people and we have to work with them and live with them and cooperate? Like, I have no clue what she's going on about. Like, what are you even complaining about?
Globalism is what I don't want. So when you think about, whenever we say nationalism, the first thing people think about, at least in America, is Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but
that's what Nazi technically stood for, National Socialist. He was not a socialist. As a matter of fact, Hitler murdered socialists and anybody to the left of basically hunting the homeless for sport. Or honestly, in all seriousness, that's real. I'm not even being hyperbolic. Anybody to the left of hunting the homeless or the Jews for sport, he put in camps. The red triangle was political prisoners. The pink triangle was the LGBT community, I think. Purple triangle was Jehovah's Witnesses. Gold star was Jewish. I mean, he had a different symbol for everybody. Hitler may have called himself a National Socialist, but he was not a socialist at all. Owen is a proper patriot. The MAGA patriots try to muddy the waters. I appreciate that, Stampede. I feel that way. I'm very patriotic. I take it pretty seriously. I would do a lot to protect my family, to protect my home, to protect my city, my state, and my country. I do an awful lot. That's patriotism. MAGA does not, they're not patriots. They're nationalists. They're extremists. Anyway, keep listening here. She's complaining about globalism or what was it? No, she's complaining about national socialists right now, isn't she? She's complaining about how Hitler was actually basically a communist, pretty much, right? It's so stupid. You know what? I'm not that guy. I'm not going to bag on people all the time. I'll let Greg Locke do it for me.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you, Greg, for expressing the opinion for me so I don't have to.
America as Hitler. You know, he was a National Socialist, but if Hitler just wanted to make Germany great and have things run well, okay, fine. The problem is that he had dreams outside of Germany. He wanted to globalize. He wanted everybody to be German, everybody to be speaking German, everybody to look a different way. That's not, to me, that's not nationalism. So in thinking about how it could go bad down the line, I don't really...
Okay, so her complaint is that Hitler was a globalist in the sense that he wanted to take over the world by invading Poland and all of these other places, and by attempting to invade the USSR. That's globalism to you? What? I'm sorry. Like, I don't even know what she's talking about when she says globalism. I don't even have my own definition for globalism. I'm just going based off of what they're saying, and this makes no sense.
I don't really have an issue with nationalism. I really don't. I think that it's okay. It's important to retain your country's identity and to make sure that what's happening here, which I think is incredibly worrisome in terms of the decrease in the birth rate that we're seeing in the UK, is what you kind of want to avoid. So I don't have I have no problems with nationalism. It's globalism that I try to avoid.
Wow. I have no problem with nationalism. I.e., what she just said was, I don't have a problem with what Hitler was doing in his country. I think she might have literally actually said that. I don't have a problem with what Hitler was doing in his country, i.e., the Jew hunt. Going around knocking on doors and finding Jews by having like lists, like birth records. They had lists of where they live and everything and their names. They found them. They told them to hold onto a rope. They walk the people that are holding onto the rope into the middle of the forest. They give them shovels and have them dig a ditch. It's about 6 feet deep. And they line up the first row of 10 or so. Tell them to turn around. And they pull their guns up. And they aim at the base of the skull. Not at the head, but the spine, basically. Because if you aim at the head, it's going to make a mess. You don't want a mess. If you aim at the spine, it kills them without making a mess. 10 or so people pull their guns out and pull the trigger and murder people. Very next, after doing that, after they're all dead, get 10 more. Line them up. Every single person. They all, and God help you if you get shot in the leg and you survive, or you get shot in the ear instead. And you die through like suffocation by like your grandparent, like your dead grandparent falling on top of you, and you just can't get up because like you've been wounded or whatever. That is what was happening in Germany in World War II, like before World War II, 1933 to 1945 is really when all of this is going down. Jew hunt started in 1939. I think, the official Jew hunt, where they said time to, they did what I just described. And then the death camps started, I believe, in 1942. But they were putting Jews in concentration camps long before that, like years before that. They just, they weren't killing them en masse yet. It took a little bit longer. Anyway, she was fine with all that. What I just told you, she's totally A-okay with it. She's good with it. That's not a problem for her, apparently. The problem is that Hitler tried to be a globalist and take over Poland. If he had just stayed in his own country, she'd be fine. She's kind of mixing up some talking points right now. There's a piece of Nazi propaganda, like modern Nazi propaganda, that basically says if Hitler just hadn't left Germany, if he just stayed in Germany, decided to do his thing in Germany, kill Jews there, then nothing bad, nobody would have come after him. That's what the modern day Nazis say. And that may be true. Maybe the world would sit there and look on as Hitler killed millions of Jews. That's very possible. I mean, the world looked on while millions of Tutsi were killed by Hutu in Rwanda. 100 days the world watched that genocide take place. But she's mixing it up. Like, that's the talking point. The talking point is if Hitler stayed in Germany instead of expanding, then the war wouldn't have happened. She's saying, I endorse Hitler doing what he did in his country, and I condemn him trying to spread out. Holy shit, dude. Is it really any wonder why Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire? Does anybody sit here wondering? You staying up at night thinking to yourself, I wonder why Candace Owens was fired from the Daily Wire. I don't know if Jeremy Boring is co-owner with Ben Shapiro. I think Jeremy Boring is also Jewish. Like more culturally than religious to my knowledge, but you know, Jeremy Boring may not actually even be Jewish. I'm not sure. He may be from a Christian family. That's possible. But either way, Ben Shapiro is Jewish, and he was totally justified in firing Candace Owens. I can't believe that he didn't fire her sooner than he did. Honestly. Like, end the contract. Oh, and by the way, Ben, you ever wonder why your hosts turn out to be Nazis from time to time? Like literal Nazis? Is that weird to you? Have you like mulled that over at all? I understand Ben Shapiro thinks like the greatest threat to Western civilization is the trans. I get that. Okay, great. You know that you are enabling and paying Nazis, right? You're literally like helping the Nazi movement grow right now by paying people who are Nazis. Jesus, dude. Let's just read like a little bit of this article. This is on a Washington Post. Candace Owens departs Ben Shapiro's website, which is the Daily Wire, after anti-Semitic commentary. She's usually more veiled than just coming out and saying, "Yeah, I don't like Jews." Though it wouldn't surprise me at all to find out she said that. Prominent right-wing commentator Candace Owens, I think they mean propagandist, but okay, commentator works too, has left the Daily Wire, the website founded by conservative commentator Ben Shapiro, after months of promoting anti-Semitic ideas. Yep, absolutely, she did. In a statement posted to social media Friday morning, Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring, as I said, he is, I think, a co-owner with Ben Shapiro, said that the company and the pundit have ended their relationship. Good. I hope it didn't cost Ben... You know what? I hope it did cost Ben Shapiro a lot of money. I hope it cost everybody a lot of money to get out of that contract. But it's good. I'm glad to find that Candace Owens has been removed. You know the saddest thing about this whole situation? I'm not even sure that it's the anti-Semitism that like got her kicked out, truthfully. I think it might just be that she's like just had, you know, butted heads with Ben Shapiro a lot is all. And they're just buying her out of the contract now. That might be the extent of it. Like Elijah Schaffer, I don't know if you guys know who Elijah Schaffer is. Elijah Schaffer worked for The Blaze for a long time. It's Glenn Beck's version of the Daily Wire. And he has his own hosts and his own everything else. And Elijah Schaffer said some absolutely whacked out stuff, dude. Oh my God. Some of the stuff that Elijah Schaffer said was just wrong.
This is the most racist thing I'll say all podcast. People think that Australia is great because it's an all-white country. And it's just, that's the only reason why it's good. And you can say that. People say that, did he say Canada is good because it's an all-white country and it's only good for that reason? Is that what he just said? Say all podcast. People think that Australia is great because it's Australia, sorry, an all-white country, and it's just, that's the only reason why it's good. And it's not an all-white country. There are natives that live there and take part in the government and everything. What? Why it's good. And you can say that that's white supremacist. No, it's a homogenous group of people with less population than there is in California and a landmass bigger than the United States. They get along, they don't commit crime, they're clean, and they have a common They have a common group. Multiculturalism is gay. It sucks. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It never has worked. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. But
did this dude just use the word gay as an insult? That is like so 1997. Like, come back to this generation, bro. Well, this guy was removed from the Blaze shortly after an actual gay conservative, Herschel Walker's son, Chris Walker, I think is his name, credibly accused Elijah Schaffer of sleeping with one of his male friends at CPAC, I think. Now, they didn't list that as the reason why they fired Elijah Schaffer. I don't know what reason they had for canceling Elijah Schaffer's contract, but he said a lot of really bad stuff, Elijah Schaffer did, and they didn't do anything. I'm actually Native American. I don't know if you knew this. My birth certificate's incorrect. It says that I'm a lot more Native American than I am. It says I'm 1/2 Native American. That's inaccurate. It's less. It's probably closer to, it's probably closer to an 1/8. But I am part of a tribe, the Mohegan tribe. I'm not actually signed up with the tribe, but I could because my family members are. And the whole nine. Like, I had dream catchers as a kid and everything. I don't know if you guys knew that about me, but yeah, I mean, I'm white passing. It doesn't really matter. But listen to this one from Elijah Schaffer. This is 2022, by the way. Early May 2022. So that was the last one. The last video was from, as a matter of fact, same time. Early May 2022.
yeah, Native Americans, get the fuck out of America. You're on stolen land that you stole. And you want to know why Manifest Destiny happened? Do you know why we took it back? Because we couldn't live with you on the land because you guys kept declaring war on us and kept declaring war and trying to take back land that we already traded and or bought from you. And you did not understand property rights because you were savages. And that's why you got the name that you did. Unfortunately for you, that's what happened. Yeah. So you know what? It's just true.
So the point here is that the things that Candace Owens said, the things that Elijah Schaffer said, were immaterial to their partnership with the Daily Wire or the Blaze or the whatever. It didn't matter what they said or did. They could say some real wild stuff and remain, part of the network or whatever. This is where I first heard of Elijah Schaffer, where he basically said that, like, he drew up like a leftist trope and said that I don't want you to vote. This is after Carrie Lake lost the election to Katie Hobbs for Arizona governor.
Katie Hobbs is the projected winner. The race has been called by multiple sources as being completed. And the reason why it's been called is exactly what we've expected. And what Mark was saying was the fact that the races will always be called for the Democrat candidate when they've collected enough votes to win.
No, are you knock me over with a feather? Are you for real? Is this real or are you punking me right now? Election races will be called for the Democrat when the Democrat gets enough votes? Really? That's just too hard to believe, guys. I'm sorry. That's where I draw the line. I can't believe him there.
Candidate when they've collected enough votes to win. And in many of these states, there are theoretically more Democrat voters than Republicans. That's why our founding fathers did not set up our republic to be a pure democracy. They don't want stupid morons who haven't done in their life to be voting.
I guess that's me, right? I mean, I'm one of those aforementioned quote unquote stupid morons.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg, for your input on that. I'm one of those stupid morons who votes against Elijah Schaffer's wishes or whatever. I have a mind of my own. And yeah, the founding fathers did set up a representative democracy. Do you have any idea what would be involved in trying to set up a popular vote in 1790s, 1800? Do you know the logistics of that? They didn't even have a phone. They didn't even have, like, everything had to go by mail. Are you kidding? Of course, it was a representative democracy. For the record, they did only, the founding fathers, they did only want land-owning men to vote. That's true. And I don't want to go back to that. Apparently, this guy does. He thinks that women, don't deserve to have credit cards like they couldn't in the 70s? He doesn't think that women deserve the right to vote like they weren't allowed to in the 1920s? Like, I don't know. Is that the position he's espousing? Remember, guys, this isn't the thing that got him kicked off of Glenn Beck's network. He could say this stuff all day, every day, and people are fine with it. In my opinion, I think it was probably the gay accusation for this guy.
All this movement that the left uses, like on Instagram and Facebook, and go out and vote. No, don't vote, you idiot. Don't vote. You are stupid.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
You are a degenerate piece of scum. Your existence is menial.
I've lived for the Lord my whole life, and I was dumb as a box of rocks and didn't know it.
In fact, God loves you. Most of us don't. Your own family doesn't support you very much because you're intolerable. Your views are not well thought out. It's not your...
My views are very well thought out. Much more thought out than this guy. I guarantee it. That's basically what I do all day, every day. Sit here and philosophize, if you will. I think about my moral positions and ideals and beliefs and feelings on everything. My ideas are well thought out, and I am on the left. So I have no idea what he's talking about, but I think I'm going to defer to Greg on this one.
I'm dumber than a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
Thank you, Greg, for your input on that. I'm pretty confident that Greg is correct in his assessment in this one case.
It's not your SSRIs and your depression, your mental illness that is making you miserable. It's the fact that you don't live for anything. You stand for nothing.
No, I live for stuff. I stand for stuff. I have a family. I have a wife, a kid. I mean, I live in New York City. I have things going on. What are you talking about? It's like drawing this bizarre trope.
Anything, you stand for nothing, so everything gives you value. And you watch TikTok as a hobby.
I don't watch TikTok, but some people do, and that's okay. Yeah, it's a fun hobby, watching short videos. That's kind of fun, right?
Your life doesn't exist in any real substance, so no, you shouldn't vote.
Anyway, that's probably Elijah Schaffer's most famous clip. And what was it that got him fired from The Blaze? We don't actually know, because they don't make that public, but I would be willing to bet it was the gay stuff. What was it that got Candace Owens fired from the Daily Wire? We don't actually know exactly, I don't think, but it was almost certainly the fact that she wants Jews dead or believes that Jews are like controlling everything or some other nonsense. The rumors are true. I am finally free, Owens said in her own post. Here's her twit post. The rumors are true. I'm finally free. If you'd like to support my work, you can head to blah, blah, blah. Okay, thank you. The details of Owen's exit weren't immediately clear, but it follows increased tension over anti-Semitic rhetoric that pitted Owens against Shapiro, who is Jewish, and the rest of the site's more mainline conservative figures. The Daily Wire didn't respond to a request for further comment. Owens couldn't be reached for an immediate comment. Yeah, they may have an NDA, like do not disclose clause in the contract after everything, so we may not ever get an answer to what the official reason was, why she was fired. Hell, maybe there is no official reason. Maybe there's a reason in Ben Shapiro's head, but he didn't put it on paper. Seems to me that it was probably that she wants him dead, though. That'd be my best guess. Tell me what you think in the comments.